going to be a quick video on mapping out structure and where we'd place a chalk and break a structure. So for those of you that follow my Instagram, you will know that I post quite frequently about chalks and how I enter with a chalk. And I also get asked, what is a chalk and what is a break structure? What's the difference? So I think it's only right for me to jump on here and make you a quick video so it's easier for you guys to understand why I place a chalk where I do and what I use it for within my strategy. So we're going to start out just mapping a bit of bullish structure into a bearish chalk. But while we're mapping out the bullish structure, I'm going to explain to you what a breaker structure is as well. So for those that don't understand the difference between the two. So we're going to start off with printing a low. Then we're going to have a high. Then we've got a higher low and a higher high. Then a higher low, then a higher high. Then a higher low, then a higher high. And I'm going to just stop it here. Right, so for those of you that don't know why, this is a higher low. The reason is because it's higher than the last low, same as this. This is a higher low because it's higher than its last low. And this is a higher high because it's higher than its last high. Now, a breaker structure occurs in a market when price breaks to the upside or to the downside. So as you can see here, we have a breaker structure to the upside. After every high gets broken, that's a breaker structure. Imagine ringing me when I'm doing a video. Got a breaker structure to the upside. And then we also have another breaker structure here. So as I just explained, the reason these are breaker structures, guys, is because as you can see, price trades through the structural points every time to the upside, meaning it's breaking structure. Now, for a chalk to occur in the market, prices have to break to the upside and then the downside, because that's a possible change of character. So as you can see here, price is traded up, we broke to the upside, meaning there's a breaker structure here. Now on the way back down, price this time, for a chalk, we want to break the structural low. So as you can see, the structural low has been broken. The demand in this area has been taken. The supply in this area has been taken, meaning that there could be a possible change of character now happening in the market. So we could be changing trend. So as you can see, we would mark this low across to where it broke. And this is where your chalk would be. Let me mark out a chalk just so it's easier for you to see it. There it is. There's our chalk. Also going to mark one of these as a breaker structure. So you know what breaker structure is. So this was a breaker structure. Now, let's say we carry on the trend now. We're just going to carry on a trend. We're going to go lower. So now we have a lower high. The reason we have a lower high is because it's lower than the last high. Then we have a lower low, lower high, lower low. Now we're going to leave it there. Now, once again, as you can see, we've got breaker structures now to the downside. The reason we have it to the downside is because this low is taking out the last low. Once again, we've got a breaker structure from here. This could also be classed as weak lows, strong highs. The reason these are strong highs is because the highs are holding on the way down. The reason these are weak lows is because they're weak lows because they're breaking on the way down. Same as here, we have strong lows because the lows are holding, and we have weak highs because the highs are being broken. Now, as I said, we have a break of structure to the downside here. Let me just mark that. And then for a chop to happen in a bearish structure, we would want price to break to the downside, taking liquidity from the demand. And then we would want price to break to the upside, taking liquidity from the supply. So if price carries on its trend, and we're going up and we break this structural high here, we've took the liquidity from the supply, meaning now there could be a possible change of character again, meaning trend could be changing to go bullish back from bearish, okay? So we would label a chalk from here where the supply would be lying in the market at this high. We'd have supply here. Let me just mark like a little zone as we would if we was trading. So we have a supply zone here. This supply zone has been broken, meaning there's a change of character. Now we could be looking at changing to a bullish trend. Now, I am going to go over this on the live markets as well. I just jumped on here to make it a little bit easier for those that are quite new to trading. If there's some of you that don't understand what a change of character is, it's not really fair to jump onto a candle chart and just go straight into it. So I've done a quick drawing out just to explain it a little bit easier to you guys. But now we are going to jump over to the candle chart just after this. But first, we're going to label the chalk here, as you can see. So this is where the chalk would lie in the market if we was in a bearish trend turning bullish, okay? Now I will jump over to the candle chart. So now we've jumped on a candle chart and we're just going to start marking out the structure down, and then we're going to start marking the chalks. We're going to start off with this as a high. Ignore this low, and we're going to say this is a low. Then we've got a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high. So here we have a breaker structure. Let me mark this out just to make this visible for you guys. So as you can see here, we had a, oh, let me take that off. Let me just click here, let me get a line for it. So we had a lower low put in place, then we had a lower high put in place, and then price traded down, and we actually put in a higher low, because the reason it's a higher low is because it didn't break this low here, and then price traded up, taking out this supply here that put in this low. So let me mark the supply. So this is a supply zone here. Now this is where the demand comes into play. So this is the demand that we want to look for. When this gets broken, we want to look and place a chuck there because the demand's been taken out. So this supply here puts in this low here. This demand takes out the supply in this area, causing a breaker structure to the upside. Mark that out. There's the breaker structure. Now on the way back down, price trades down, actually taking the demand in this area, meaning we have a chuck. Where is the supply that placed this low, taking out this demand? Here. You guys can see that. There is the supply. Let me mark this as blue because it's the demand. So here's the supply that actually placed this low. And as you can see, guys, price trades back up, tapping into this supply zone and then carries on its trend. So if we can carry on the trend, this is actually a chuck. Let me mark that. Chuck. On the way down, guys, all of these are breaker structures. So this is a breaker structure. This is a breaker structure. This is a breaker structure. Let me just mark it. The reason why is because this was the low. Price trades through that low, making it a weak low. And this is a strong high because price is holding on the high, causing a breaker structure. Same again, if we was to go across, price breaks this low, causing another breaker structure. It's quite simple, guys. It's the way it moves. If it breaks the low, it's a breaker structure. If it broke a high, it's a breaker structure. But as you can see, price is trading down with strong highs because all the highs are holding, and weak lows because they're weak lows because they're not holding and they're actually getting broken. And this is where we have a chuck, because we have a breaker structure to the upside, and then immediately we have another breaker structure to the downside, meaning that we had a possible change of trend here to the upside, but then price carried on and gave us the confirmation that no, we're going to carry on trend with a chuck, and showed us that we're going back to bearish. And as you can see, this is what happens. Then we just mark out here. So we have a lower low. The reason it's a lower low is because it's lower than this demand here. Then we have a higher low. Sorry, not a higher low, a lower high, because it's lower than this high. Then we have a lower low, lower high, lower low. Now this is where we have another chuck to show us that the market is moving bullish. Let me mark this out here. So this supply in this area is what put in place this low. Now, as you can see, this is a bit of a tricky one here, because you can see that we have a demand level here, but price comes up, tapping into this supply and actually wicking down, collecting orders from this demand zone here, already mitigating it. So meaning we wouldn't want to use this demand. So for myself here, as you can see, this wick I would use as my demand, because this is the demand zone really, this whole wick and candle that actually broke the supply here. As you can see, let me mark this out. So this supply gets broken from here, causing a change of character. Let me mark that on for you guys. There is the change of character. We actually have the breaker structure to the downside here. This is the low that was put in place. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. Let me get the line chart out. This was the low that was put in place. Here, there's the breaker structure. Let me just mark these breaker structures so they're visible as well for you. So the breaker structure there. And we have a breaker structure here. Now this was the demand in this wick here that put in place this high to take out the supply in this area, meaning we had a change of character. We were expecting price now to come back down, mitigating this. So you actually could, if you wanted to. I wouldn't myself, because I would want to see a flip as well. This is the flip, as you can see here. So we have a flip. Now this is the zone really that caused the flip, this demand zone here. Now, price just misses this zone before trading back upwards. So if we had an order set here, you probably wouldn't get tagged in. It misses it by like half a pip, so it doesn't really matter there. But as I was showing you guys, this here is where the change of character comes into play. Price comes back down, mitigating this area, and then we're going to carry on the bullish structure now. So let me get this out. Let me change this to high. So now we have a higher low here, then we have a higher high, higher low, high, that's a lower high, a higher low, and we have a higher high, higher low. Let me just move this. I'm on highlighter so you can't actually drag the screen, just draw everywhere. Let me come into this big bullish structure, as you can see here. Now we're going to have here, so where was we? We had a higher high, higher low. We have an equal low here. It's actually a little bit higher. So we have a higher low here, then a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, higher low, higher high. Now let's jump in to where the chart would be in this. Let me take that off. Let me just drag it over so it's here in front of us visibly. So what happens here is this supply in this area is what placed this low. Let me mark this as a supply. Is what put in place this low here. This low failed to break this low here, meaning that this is a strong low. And as you can see, price trades straight up, taking the supply in this area, causing a break of structure to the upside. Mark that out, it's quite small. I'm not going to stick break of structure there because I've already done that. Now what we want to happen now for a chart to be put in place is this demand is what put in place this high. Here, let me mark this demand. Now this demand now, when this gets broken, this is where our change of character is placed in the market. So I would mark from the low here, across. Now as you can see, here is the change of character. Now what supply caused this change of character? This supply zone here is the last supply zone before the break. So this is the zone that actually caused a change of character. If we drag this across, you can see price does trade back up, mitigating into this supply, giving us a reaction, but not a strong enough reaction really, because price then trades back up, trading straight through it. So if you was to place an entry on here, you'd probably get stopped out at break even. I would myself, because if I were to enter here and we tapped in, we actually broke this demand here, as you can see. So I would have moved my stop loss to break even now, or yeah, I would have moved my stop loss to break even, would have got topped out at break even. So we just ended off with saying why I would have moved my stop loss to break even, and that's because this low broke the demand in this area. So we would move it to break even, price come up, tapped you out. There would have been a lower loss, it would have just been a break even trade. So we just carry on with the day. Now we're going to go back to the structure, as this is what the video is about. So as you can see here, here's the high that caused the break structure. Here's the supply that caused this demand to be broken, causing the change of character. Now we're actually trading down. I'm going to ignore this here because it's just a few candles together consolidating as one. But here is the lower low. Here is the higher low. My dog's making a noise. Sorry if you can hear that. Here's the lower low. Here is a higher low again. Now let me just jump out and get this and mark the supply. So this supply here, let me mark it, is actually what put in place this low. So once this supply gets broken, we have a change of character. Now let me mark this top here and mark the change of character on there. Change of character. So we're here. Here is the low that got broken to cause the break structure to the downside. This is the supply that put it in place. So what broke this supply area was this demand in this area here. So this demand zone actually broke the supply. Demand OB. Now if we just drag this across, we could carry on structure, but you can make this a very long video. We just drag this across and see if this demand actually gets mitigated. As you can see here, does it break it? No. So as you can see, price comes back down, tapping into this demand zone quite perfectly actually. And then we have another 1 minute chalk within this 1 minute zone. So if I just mark this out for you and then we'll end the video there. Okay, so this supply here is what put in place this low. And mark this as supply. Okay, now what we want to see is what demand broke this supply. This demand here, if you guys can see that, this little demand zone here broke this supply. As you can see, we break through, causing a change of character. What is my dog doing? So we have the change of character here. Put that in place. There's the change of character. This is the man that put in the change of character. We trade straight through, breaking this. And then on the way back down, we actually tap back into this demand that caused the change of character, giving us a flip here. Now, guys, as you can see, that is the power of a chalk. If you were to place an entry here, you'd have got in. Same as if you was to place entries here, you'd have got in. Same as if you was to place an entry here, you'd have got in, but break even. And it's just the same. The power of chalk it's very powerful. It shows you when the market could be changing direction. I'm going to end this video here though, just to keep it nice and short for you guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can